It was something that I was just thinking it was impossible to happen. And when it happened, when we actually saw the gorillas and we were surrounded by them, I thought, okay, they're coming for me.
Were you scared? Do you remember? I remember not feeling scared, but sort of, out of my body.
Yes, that's the same sensation. It's like you're seeing things like from the outside. I was very much under control, I think. But perhaps because it was a very stressful moment. And so I remember I was like very sharp. And I don't think I was scared. I think I got scared afterwards.
Was there a moment when you realized that it hit you that you were a hostage, that you may never get out?
At the beginning, I thought it's going to be hours. Then I thought it's going to be days. And then I thought probably it could be months. And what if it's going to be more than months? And so that was the moment I realized it was bad, very bad.
I remember the first few days, I felt a lot of guilt. Like I could imagine that my mother, my father, my friends were all so worried and scared. Was that the same for you?
Oh, yes. Yes, I felt very guilty because my father was very ill and I didn't want to do that trip. It was something that I didn't want to do. And but at the same time I had people waiting for me and I had said that I was going to go. And I never thought that the guerrilla could kidnap me. In fact, because like 10 days before, I had been with all the commanders of the FARC.
Right, you had met with them.
Yes, and we had talked. And you have the impression that if you meet somebody, he cannot harm you. I mean, I was very, very surprised when the commander said, I have talked to the chiefs of the guerrilla and you're going to stay here. Because I thought this guy is taking me, but it's an error. He's going to release me in a couple of hours when he's going to talk to his commanders and they're going to tell him, no, let her go.
What was your relationship like with your captors?
It was fluctuant because sometimes I had one person that was human and it was like a gift. But mostly they were trained to be very cold, cruel. They were, I think, brainwashed in a way. They were telling them that we were enemies, and I think I was like, again, the symbol of what their enemy was. I was a politician. They hated politicians. I was a person with some education. They had none, so they thought I was of a privileged social background, and they hated me for that. I was a woman, and they don't like women. It's a very machist culture. They think that women are manipulating and, well.
I want to talk to you about what it's like to be a woman in that situation, because one of the things that really bothered me was that I never had any privacy. There was always a man in that very small space. If I had to go to the bathroom, there was a man there. Was that the same for you? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think that in the jungle, I understood that some women feel the need to be covered and veiled. I felt sometimes like that. I wanted to cover myself, all of me, to just be protected.
you think they treated you worse because?
It was very hard. It was very, very hard. I think that being a prisoner is very hard. But being a prisoner woman among men is very, very hard. It's like to be a prisoner twice or 3 times more.
You had other captives. You were held with other people. Mm-hmm. They were all men, too.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about your relationships with them? Did it help to have other people there? Did it make a difference? Was it better?
The relationship between prisoners was hard, was difficult. I have incredible relationship with some of them and very hard relationship with others. There were guys there that were also difficult.
Betancourt was held in the jungle with 3 American contractors who accused her of being worse than their captors, of hoarding food and clothing.
It was one guy that spoke in a way, and it's his character. It's the way he is. But then there were others that were saying the opposite.
You said there are things that need to be left in the jungle.
Yes.
That you won't talk about, and I'm the same way. There are some things that I'm leaving in the hole. I'm not going to ever talk about it, but it must still haunt you.
Oh, yes. Yes. Of course it does.
How?
Do you have nightmares?
Yeah, you do too.
Yeah.
How often?
It's less and less, but before it was every night. Now it's becoming like every week. Do you have like the impression that when you wake up, you don't know where you are?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That happens to me too. Or there are sounds that make you, that upsets you?
Yes.
Smells?
Sounds, when I hear the call to prayer, because I could hear it all the time. I don't, I'm in North America, so I don't hear it that often. But when I hear that on television I get...
Yes, your body reacts even though you know it's nothing.
I mean, I'm talking about it now and I can feel the...
Yes, I have exactly the same. The physical reaction to something that I know. For me, it's the helicopters. When I hear a helicopter, my body changes. I begin to sweat. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm bad. I'm really feeling sick. And even though I know it's a parade or, So yes, I think there are things that are difficult, but it will erase little by little. Time will
I want to talk about what you're wearing on your wrist. Can you...
Let's see. Okay, this is my rosary, and I made it in the jungle, like the year after my abduction, and it has been on my wrist since then. And it's funny because when I made it, I didn't know how to pray the rosary. I didn't know how it functioned. So I had this image of my father praying the rosary, and I would say, but how many beads were there? 10 or 15 or 20? I didn't know. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it with 15. It's better more than less. So then we were in a camp with other prisoners, and there was this girl that I adore. Her name is Gloria. And she was the one who taught me how to pray. And so when I found out that there were only 10, I put this little thing, because at night when I was praying, when I arrived here, I knew I could go straight to the cross.
Did you fall asleep praying?
The first year I didn't sleep at all. Did you sleep? No, you couldn't sleep, right?
No, but see, I have mine too. I had it in my pocket with me.
Oh my God.
the whole time. And I was in Italy with my girlfriends on a vacation right before I went to Afghanistan, and I picked that up at the Vatican, and it was in my pocket. And at first they took it out and they threw it in the sand. And I said, please let me keep it. And they gave it back to me, so I had it. And you see here, it's broken, right? So I would always have to make sure that I didn't.
Yes, turn it, because then it will.
Yeah.
He's our savior.
But what were you thinking when you were praying? Like, did you ever think that he wasn't listening, that God wasn't listening to you?
Well, I felt two things. First, I was praying through the conduct of Mary. It's a strange thing, and it's very stupid what I'm going to say, but in a way I would feel that he was too busy to listen to me. He has too many things on this world to take care of. So please, Mary, help me. So I was praying, asking Mary.
I prayed to Mary too.
To Mary too? Mm-hmm. She was like mine. And then I also thought that when I was praying, I had to make the effort to communicate. And I would think that if I could only think of Jesus, then he would understand that I wanted to talk to him. And I also knew that I could ask him so many things. I wanted to ask him every day something different.
What were you asking?
For everything. Please let me be in a place where there are no ants and bugs. Please, I would like to have a bigger piece of bread tomorrow. Please don't let this guy sit behind me because he's going to be annoying me all night long. Please, those kind of things. And then it came to a moment where I said, God, you know what I need. So just do what you want, but do it quick, please. Please let me know what you want so that I can just accept, but do it quick, please.
Do you think your faith has changed?
Oh, yes, a lot.
How?
I have the absolute security that he's there for me. Absolute. And I trust in him completely. I have this peace in me.
You have peace?
Oh, yes.
You're not carrying any resentment or
No.
anger or anything like that?
No, but I want to help. Because I think that the guys that did wrong to me, they are probably very sad in their hearts, and the life they live is just a hell. So if I could do something to help them to get out of that, I will. And so that's why I'm working on this foundation.
Since her release, Betancourt has started her own foundation to try to help those whose lives are still controlled by FARC.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's a beautiful idea. It's very simple. I think that freedom is something we need to be dignified as humans. You know it. There are all kinds of freedoms, but of course the freedom of being able to do what you want with your life is there. I think that those guys were more prisoners than I am, or than I was when I was abducted. My guards. I am here today. They're trapped there. They will never be able to get out of that organization unless they're killed or they escape. And if they escape, it's going to be terrible for their families because the guerrilla will take revenge on them.
What's next for you? Are you going to go back to Colombia?
Someday, perhaps. Not now. But someday, perhaps, yes.
There are a lot of people back there who think you should pick up where you left off, campaigning for president.
What God wants, whatever he wants, he will show the way.